All right, today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful ideas in personal finance, but we're going to look at it a little differently. Let's just forget all the complicated charts and the scary numbers for a bit. We're going to talk about how to grow a money tree.
Just imagine that for a second. Not as some complex spreadsheet or a stock ticker that gives you anxiety, but as something natural, something patient, and something incredibly powerful. What if you could plant one tiny seed today that could grow into this massive, towering tree, giving you financial shade for the rest of your life? That's the big idea we're digging into.
It's a universal dream, isn't it? I mean, who doesn't want the freedom to make choices based on what they want to do, not what they have to do because of money? Look, this isn't about some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about growing wealth slowly, steadily, and reliably, kind of like a tree reaching for the sun.
So, what exactly is a money tree? Let's be clear, it's not a fantasy. It's really just a powerful metaphor for a very real financial idea, a long-term, growing investment. It can be anything that starts small but, with the right care and time, can just blossom into a major source of security and freedom for you.
You know how it goes. Every huge forest starts with a single seed, right? So, for us, where does this incredible journey actually begin? Well, it starts with planting that first seed.
This right here is where we cut through all the noise. Your financial seed is just your first investment. You gotta forget this idea that you need a huge pile of cash to get started. Honestly, the size of that first seed is way less important than the simple act of just putting it in the ground. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in the what ifs or beat yourself up for not starting sooner. But there's that famous saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. The past is done. The only thing you can control is the seed you decide to plant today.
Okay, so you've planted your seed. Awesome. Step one is done. But now comes the part that really tests all of us. This is the part where the real growth happens. Nurturing that little sapling through what I call the test of patience.
And let's just be honest with ourselves, it really is the hardest part. I mean, we live in a world of instant downloads and next-day shipping, but nature and smart investing, they operate on a totally different clock. The biggest rewards, they just don't happen overnight. They grow over seasons.
For this little sapling to really thrive, it needs two essential nutrients. First up is patience. That's the ability to just leave it alone, to let time work its magic without you messing with it. And second is discipline. That's the commitment to keep watering it, consistently, even on the days when it feels like absolutely nothing is happening.
This comparison really nails the two different mindsets, doesn't it? The patient gardener, they trust the process. They get that storms or, market downturns are just part of the deal. They think in decades. The impatient gardener, though, they're totally driven by anxiety, constantly checking, panicking at the first sign of trouble, and they end up sabotaging their own growth because they're only thinking about today. So the real question is, which gardener are you going to be?
All right, let's move on to the timeline. Because when you combine that seed you planted with all that patience and discipline, something genuinely magical starts to unfold. And the best part? It often happens when you're not even looking.
So, after about 5 years, your tree is a sapling. Now, on the surface, the growth might not look all that dramatic, but underneath, where you can't see, it's building this deep, strong root system. This is the foundation. It's the critical, unseen work that's going to support all the growth that comes later.
Fast forward to year 10, and now things start to change. Those strong roots are fueling real, visible growth. The branches are spreading out, the trunk is getting thicker. You can actually see the tangible results of your early patience. This is where it starts to feel real, like the momentum is building.
And then you hit the 15-year mark, and oh man, this is where the real magic shows up. The tree starts to bear fruit. This is the power of compounding becoming so obvious you can't ignore it. Your investment isn't just growing from what you put in, it's now growing on top of its own growth. Every branch, every leaf starts working for you, and the growth just accelerates. This is where your money truly starts working for you. So when you look at it all laid out like this, you can really see the power of that curve. See how it's not a straight line? It's exponential. Those early years of slow, kind of boring rooting are what make that powerful acceleration possible later on. That right there, that's the whole game. Which brings us to the final and, let's be honest, the most rewarding part of this whole journey, the harvest. This is what all that planting and watering and waiting was for. This quote from Warren Buffett just captures the whole idea perfectly. The work you do today, the patience you practice right now, it isn't just for you tomorrow. It's for the you that's going to be around decades from now.
You're planting a tree for your future self to sit under and enjoy the shade.
So when you boil it all down, it really just comes down to this simple 4-step path. Plant your seed by just starting. Nurture it with discipline and consistency. Let it grow by practicing patience and tuning out all the short-term noise. And then, eventually, you get to enjoy the shade. You get to reap the rewards of the financial security you built yourself.
With one and final question. It's the only one that really matters after all this, and it's a question for you and you alone. Knowing what you know now, understanding how a tiny little seed can grow into a mighty tree, what seed will you plant today?